I don't know what everyone's freaking out about. They just beat Boston! They just beat Boston! It's like everyone forgot already! I'm fine with this. Me too. What, do you think they're gonna win every game? I mean, you can try, but I can't do this anymore. Are you lying to? Oh, for sure. I'm literally on the verge of tears. Hi, kids! Victorious puppies! This team is ruining my life. Why do I watch hockey? Stress relief! We can, and we will. Leafs lose 4-3 in the shoe. No, well, sorta. In overtime. 4-3 in overtime to the Columbus Blue Jackets. Man, you really gotta watch the Leafs every game to understand what a frustrating team they are. I have been harping on the Leafs starts for God knows how long, and what's amazing is I look at this, the Leafs were down 2-0 less than 6 minutes into this game, and I actually thought they had a fantastic start. The Leafs come out of the gate flying in the first 2 minutes, and they draw a penalty as a result. The Leafs get a power play early. What? Are the refs on drugs? The Leafs are both. Very shortly into the power play, Mitch Marner's got the puck, as Mitch Marner often does. Mitch, what are you doing, Mitch? For real? Oh, it's gonna be one of those. Riley Nash gets his first of the season. You're welcome. And the Leafs are down 1-0. You can't whine and complain that you don't get enough power plays and then do that! It's okay, it's okay. They're gonna pick it back up. A few minutes later, another mess! Everyone was focusing on Martin Marincin being all up in Freddie's kitchen. I don't know what he was doing. Well, actually, I do. Cam Atkinson dragged Marincin through the crease and into Freddie. Can't really complain about that. Marty's got to do a better job of understanding what's going on, that he's in a battle. They're never gonna call something like that. The more concerning one is Austin Matthews defensively getting his clock cleaned by Pierre-Luc Dubois. And this is a good example of how you lie with facts. Freddie allowed 2 goals on 2 shots. What the hell was he supposed to do on either of them? Like, right now, I know, and we'll get to this later, that the stats suggest the Leafs should have a better record than they do, and their PDO is awful. I get that. But you look at some of the stuff they're allowing, it's wild. And I'm not trying to go all watch the games on you, because if you watch the games, by and large, the Leafs look like the better team most of the time, no matter who they play. But these individual plays, or these 5-minute pockets, are garbage, and they're just yard sailing entire games. They're yard sailing points in the standings. And then to top it all off, they take a penalty? Luckily, Mitch Marner made up for his earlier mistake, rushing up with Kasperi Kapanen 2-on-1, sets up Cappy bangs it in, and it's a 1-goal game. Kapanen with his 2nd goal of the season. I know it was shorthanded, not 5-on-5, but I saw some people talk about moving him up in the lineup. Leave him right where he is. The reason Kapanen looks so good is because he's where he ought to be. The less he plays at 5-on-5, the speedier he gets to be whenever he's on the ice, and that's what makes him a special player. End of the period. Jake Muzzin had an adventure of the game. Defensively, I thought he was absolutely terrible with all sorts of giveaways. He gets a secondary assist on the first goal, and on this one, he basically sets up the whole play. Every now and then, Muzzin does this takeover thing that I love, where he's like, I'm a forward now. Muzzin takes the puck, gives it to Andreas Johnsson, who sets up Matthews with a beautiful feed, and maybe the easiest goal of his NHL career, including empty netters. Matthews with the tap. Oh, what a feed. Oh, the Leafs do this for a change. They tie the game up before intermission. It was a bit of an adventure, but we head to the second. Oh, good. End of the second period then. Matthews, with an excellent effort in the Blue Jacket zone, collects the puck in the slot, throws it in front. Andreas Johnsson, again! Amazing to me that in the morning he wasn't even confirmed to be playing just yet. Taps it over to William Nylander. Easiest goal of his career, and his 3rd goal of the season, which is a pretty solid upgrade from this time last season when William Nylander had 0 goals and was in freaking Austria. Now, while heading into the 3rd period, the Leafs finally have their first lead of the game, and it was a nice goal late in the frame. There is trouble brewing. Blue Jackets took 2 penalties in the first, the Leafs took 2 penalties, that's a wash. Second period, Leafs 2, Blue Jackets nothing. Marner hooking on Nyquist, Spezza tripping on Atkinson. Babcock pointed this out at the end of the game, and I know a lot of you aren't the biggest fans of him right now. He's not wrong. Janssen, slashing, stick infraction. Kerfoot, tripping, stick infraction. Marner, hooking, stick infraction. Spezza, tripping, stick infraction. Freddie Gauthier, tripping, stick infraction. And Marner on the penalty shot, this wasn't a penalty, but it was a penalty shot and lost the game. Hooking, stick infraction. Now we can say the refs, the refs, the refs. Here's the problem with the Leafs right now. They are taking way more penalties than their opponents. Game in and game out. I don't actually have a problem with the amount of penalties the refs are giving the Leafs. I don't like how few penalties the Leafs are being rewarded from, the other team taking infractions. But what the refs are looking for, and it's painfully clear, painfully abundant, and Babcock is obviously sick of this excuse. They're looking for stick infractions. That's the new NHL. Don't hook, don't get your stick in the hands, in the gloves, don't slash at all. You could argue that Columbus had some uncalled stuff in this game, and I would make the same argument. But the fact of the matter is, the Leafs deserved every penalty they got, and it cost them the game. They're an undisciplined team right now. The only one I'm going to say about is the Gauthier one that ended up leading to the power play that tied the game for Columbus. That to me seems soft. Riley blocks a hard shot. He's down. Freddie makes a save, but he's spread out, and there's just a little sliver of ice between his legs. Wenberg is able to find it. Tie game. The penalty kill looked good all night long. Frederik Andersen looked good all well outside of the first two shots. That, again, I don't know what he was supposed to do on those. Then wrapping up the game, of course, there was overtime, and of course, there was the penalty shot. Now, there was some confusion. On the broadcast, the play-by-play crew, they said that the penalty shot was as a result of Marner putting his hand on the puck in the crease. This was not the case. And the NHL even made this mistake. It was on their official record that that's why the penalty shot was called at first. It has since been changed. That was wrong. If you watch closely enough at the replay or even during the play, you see the ref's hand go up long before Marner is on the ice and has his hand on the puck. It was the initial hook. Super frustrating because the reason seemingly that Marner was behind Nyquist in the first place is in the offensive zone. Marner was either tripped or got his leg caught up with Nyquist or something. Whether you call that an infraction or bad luck, it is what it is, and it's the reason Marner was behind Nyquist. What I would argue is you're far better off giving up that opportunity to Nyquist and just staying as close as you possibly can than just giving him a straight up penalty shot. He scores on Freddie, and just like that Chicago game a couple years ago when William Nylander scored on the penalty shot 5 seconds into overtime, Leafs lose this one. And now they play Boston tonight, second half of a back-to-back where the Leafs always play Freddie as the starter to secure those 2 points and surrender the second 2 as I look at it. So now you're looking at 1 of 4 points by design. I'll get to that in a minute. After this game, the Leafs Nation was just losing its mind. One of the things people were talking about was this Jake Muzzin quote. We're gonna play better defensively. We have to, no matter what, no matter who's in net, no matter what team we're playing. Jake Muzzin making a strong demand for better. Well, that's Jake Muzzin being a leader. That's Jake Muzzin telling the truth. The Leafs are not good enough defensively. And that's also Jake Muzzin calling out himself. He had a terrible game, and I'm okay with him owning it. Also, Jake Muzzin is arguably the best Leafs defender, at least in his own end, and had a fantastic game against Boston in 27 minutes. Second, after the game, everyone was screaming at Mike Babcock for galaxy braining overtime. I don't know what you're doing on home ice, not starting one of the most deadly 3-on-3 trios in the entire NHL of Matthews, Marner, and Riley. What are you doing line matching on 3-on-3 overtime? What are you doing? What are you doing? It's not the same thing. It's not. Stop it. Play your 3 best players as much as you can. And then after those guys are done playing, you still have burners up and down your lineup. Moore, Kapanen, Kerfoot, Mikheyev, Nylander, you're fine! Put those 3 out there! But people are calling for Mike Babcock to be fired and everything, and he was really frustrated after this game. this isn't the time to fire him. And it's funny, when the camera panned to Dubas, I want to say at the beginning of overtime, when Babcock had the Matthews trio out there and then took them off, camera panned to him and it looked like he was saying something that might have had to do with the line change. Now, whether you're Dubas or a fan, being frustrated with one decision doesn't mean you fire the guy. If you were gonna fire Mike Babcock, the time to do it was in the summer. The time to do it was in the summer. Because what happens if you fire him? First of all, who do you replace him with? Well, let's say it's Sheldon Keefe, some of you are yelling. So you're going to disrupt not just the NHL team, but also the development system by taking away their head coach mid-season? Okay, so don't make it Sheldon Keefe. Make it Dave Haxtell. Are you sure that's going to make the difference? They're going to win a cup now because Dave Haxtell's the head coach? Okay, bring in a new guy. All right, well, here's the thing. New guy might not like the two new assistants behind the bench. Paul McFarland, Dave Haxtell, they both just got here. And did Babcock make Marner give the puck away on the first power play? Did Babcock, who has openly challenged Matthews to be a much better, not just a much better two-way center, one of the best in the league, is Babcock responsible for him losing his position on Dubois? Like, last night was just a terrible game for some guy. Look at this! Justin Bourne rightly pointing out how weird this play was. How Jason Spezza, with all his offensive sense and ability, doesn't give this to Riley here. I'm stunned. Honestly shows me he's not somewhere comfortable in his head out there right now. Player with his poise, ability, usually makes this a tap-in. He's right. That's Morgan freaking Riley. A lot of guys had a terrible game in this one, man. A lot of guys had a terrible game. And what's amazing is Korpisalo still had to be fantastic, and the Leafs managed to pick up a point, despite how terrible some guys were in spots. And Matthews basically putting the team on his back after screwing up on the second goal and bringing the team even before the intermission even. Do I think this team is as motivated as it could be under Mike Babcock? I'm not sure. Do I think that the Leafs are going to win a Stanley Cup with Mike Babcock? I just don't know. I just can't hang this game on him. I can't. Which brings me to tonight's game against the Boston Bruins and Michael Hutchison. I have been ranting and screaming that in certain situations, the Leafs should start Hutchison in the first half of the back-to-back and Freddie in the second. Dude, the Leafs needed every moment Freddie was on the ice in this one. Otherwise, they lose. He had to be spectacular for them, which is ridiculous. I don't care if Tavares is hurt. And I'm not calling the Blue Jackets a garbage team, but the Leafs should beat them. Furthermore, this from Chris Johnston. I didn't even know this. Reporter Chris runs the numbers on Frederik Andersen's starts in the first half of back-to-backs with the Leafs. His record is 34-8-5. You're first place in the league with that record. And I've been tweeting stuff about like, oh, well, Boston, enjoy the 2 points. Oh, well, 1 of 4 points. The Leafs aren't going to get this one. You know what? I watch sports because they're ridiculous and they're unpredictable, and this is the most ridiculous, most unpredictable sport there is. I am going to watch the Leafs play the Bruins tonight in hope of something special happening, something magical, something unexpected. I would love to see an unexpected win, an unexpected goose egg. I would love to see a guy who grew up cheering for the Leafs, a Leaf fan from the greater Toronto area. I would love to see that guy succeed in the Leafs net against all odds. Sometimes you lose games you should win. Now it's time for them to win a game they should lose. A couple other things I want to show you. A lot of you were wondering what that cut was on John Tortorella's forehead, myself included. I'm embarrassed that I didn't know this. John Tortorella okay after having skin cancer growth removed from his forehead, so that's what it is. And this article is from October 16th, and it said he had the growth removed on Tuesday, so if I'm reading this right, he had it removed less than a week ago. That's scary as hell. Glad he's okay, and John Tortorella is an absolute G, but we already knew that. And I'd be remiss if I didn't point this out. Marner posted this before the game last night. Last night we lost our little fighter Hayden. It breaks my heart to know I'll never be able to see you again. How you fought your battles always inspired me. You were my hero. I know you'll be watching me from up above. I'll miss you. And he had a few other quotes. I think it might have been at Morning Skate where he said, this season is for her. This year is for her. I think we get caught up a little bit in the superhero inspirational stuff about professional athletes. You don't always know everything that's going on with them, and you don't always know how they're handling it. Life is very, very, very unfair. Appreciate yours while you've got it, and while you've got it, make others' lives better. Life is about more than chasing a puck around between whistles. Questions. Now, I'm a big fan of the process, and believe the Leafs are playing better than their record suggests, something the stats heads seem to agree on. When do you think the results are going to start clicking? Or is that a January problem instead of an October one? The Leafs are already playing in their third back-to-back of the season. It's already their second instance of 3 games in 4 nights, and by the end of the week, they will have played 4 back-to-backs. By the end of the month, they will have played, nope, still 4. The Leafs' November isn't great either. They have a long road trip and a couple back-to-backs, and the long road trip leads into a home game that is the second half of a back-to-back. December's not awesome either. At least they get a little bit of a holiday break. Their January compared to October especially is a joke. The Leafs have had a lot of turnover. Coaching staff, the roster, guys have been injured, and they're still actually, most of the time, playing pretty decent hockey. This might be a tough week, this might be a tough month, but I would bet going forward, this team is better. When the Leafs schedule sucks, your LFR schedule sucks with it. Back-to-back game equals back-to-back LFRs. How hard is it to get it all done, and are there things you do to make it easier on yourself? You just sort of do it. It sucks, because like, I've been trying to stick to a hard podcast schedule. We're always going to do it Sundays and Wednesdays. We're trying to do the Dang It's videos every Wednesday, or at least record them every Wednesday, and now we're about to do our third ones, and we've done one Wednesday. And it's especially hard to stick to that when the Leafs play on a Tuesday night, because I have ice surfing on a Tuesday night, and that means that shooting an LFR that night is out of the question, so I got to do it Wednesday morning. Wednesday morning we're supposed to do Dang It's. How are we supposed to do that? Oh, and then once I'm done with that, then we have the podcast. I mean, hey, it's difficult, but it beats working. Donation shout-outs. I'm going to shout out people who donated to Rachel's Raiders. That's my hockey team that is raising money for Easter Seals Ontario, a charity that raises money for kids with physical disabilities. Mitchell Curtis. I'm shouting you out again because I called you Michael last video. David Ward. Felix Potvin's number. Nick Gould. $1,542.17. If that seems like a random number, it's because it got me to $30,000. But it keeps going. Vikram Karuna. Laura, let's do that, Leafs. I feel like that might not be your name, Laura. Ryan Birch. Matt Day. Arshad Sami. Adam Bernstein. Joe Grochmal. Joshua Galbraith. Daniel Henriques. Sorry, I thought there were more names. Daniel Henriques. Thanks to all of you. To date, there's been 480 different donors, and you've helped me raise $30,767. Why did it have to be 67? And 79 cents. Mission to get to 50,000. Let's go. Can we get to 35,000 by, maybe not tomorrow's video. That'd be nice. What about by Friday? That is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. Leafs play again. Once again, if you want to donate to Rachel's Raiders, link down below in the description. That is for Easter Seals Ontario. It's also my pinned tweet. And hey, tonight I want you to check out ice surfing, which I'm going to be on with Jeff Merrick and Jason York. It is on Sportsnet's Twitter account from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern. You can watch hockey live on Twitter. Seriously, check it out. #icesurfing.